Давай цю, маленьку.
U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Ukraine peace negotiators are in Abu Dhabi for a second round of negotiations, trying to move closer to a ceasefire with Russia. The two-day trilateral meetings come after President Volodymyr Zelensky accuses Russia of violating a U.S.-backed energy truce. During a bitter cold snap, Russia attacked Ukraine with a record number of ballistic missiles hitting its energy system on Tuesday.
For more on this, let's bring in CBS News reporter Aidan Stretch. He's also a writer for the Free Press, owned by Paramount Skydance. And Aidan joins us now from the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv. Aidan, despite these recent attacks, people are really hunkering down in Kyiv where you are. Describe the defiance we're seeing.
It's been a harsh couple months, weeks here, as it's below 10 degrees Fahrenheit here in the capital. And as you mentioned, those strikes knocked out heating for over 1,000 buildings here. But I was yesterday with employees from DTEK, which is Ukraine's largest private energy company, as they were repairing some of the damage from the attacks. And I asked them, sort of, as these conditions get worse, does this change their day-to-day, how they're thinking about the war, their own lives? And their response is what I get from talking to most Ukrainians here, which is they're here to do their job, live their lives day to day. And that's consistent with the polling that we've just gotten this week from the Kyiv International Institute of Sociology, in which 65% of Ukrainians say that they're willing to endure these conditions for as long as necessary to secure what they would perceive to be a just end to this war.
Aidan, in your recent Free Press article, you mentioned that the biggest shadow that hangs over the Ukraine war is something that perhaps is not self-evident. What is that shadow?
So I think what I was referencing there is the threat of nuclear escalation, which is certainly how the West perceives the largest shadow over the war. Several weeks ago, Russia deployed its Oreshnik missile, which is a nuclear-capable missile, on Ukraine's western regions. The missile did not have a nuclear warhead when it was launched, and it hit an energy facility, and there were no fatalities. And if you look at the reporting on most major media organizations the day after, this is sort of top-line news, this saber rattling that Russia has deployed a nuclear-capable missile for the second time in the war. But talking to Ukrainians here right after that happened, their view is that these attacks happen sort of nearly every week at this point. And so while that continues to attract a lot of the attention and is certainly the biggest shadow hanging over this war in the West, there are these daily attacks that are certainly more common than the two times that Russia has used this missile here before.
Aidan, Abu Dhabi, where these trilateral meetings are taking place, is a long way from Kyiv. What are Ukrainians there thinking about these negotiations? Are people aware of them? Is it something folks are talking about?
And so these are the second peace negotiations in Abu Dhabi. The first took place at the end of January. The sticking points continue to be the same that they have been for a while. One is the question of territorial concessions on Ukraine's eastern regions, territory that Ukraine's military currently controls. Spokesperson from Ukraine's foreign ministry said today that that issue is not actually going to be addressed at these talks. But the question of Western security guarantees and what those might look like if a ceasefire is able to be reached is supposed to be addressed. If you look at the composition of the delegations that are going to be there, on the Ukrainian side, it's the former head of defense intelligence, who's now Zelensky's chief of staff. On the Russian side, it's their current head of military intelligence. Those are, as one Ukrainian official put it to me, military people who can speak to each other in the same language and possibly reach progress on some of those more technical terms, what security guarantees might look like, while leaving questions like these contentious territorial concessions up to the heads of state after those more technical questions are addressed by these delegations.
Aidan, does it feel to you, and in talking to Ukrainians, that the Russians have become more targeted in how during those missile strikes? Because there was a period of time when they were indiscriminately hitting apartment buildings, hospitals. I'm not sure where you are, and for security reasons, you probably shouldn't tell us. But I'm just curious if ordinary Ukrainians feel a little better going about their day to day.
This week, a Russian drone hit a bus that was carrying civilian miners in the country's eastern region, killing 12. That same night, a different attack hit a maternity ward, also in the east. And so, talking to Ukrainians here, there's no sense that there's been any marked change in the types of targets that Russians are targeting.
All right, Aidan Stretch doing some crucial reporting for us from the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv. Thank you, Aidan, as always.
A new round of U.S. brokered peace talks between Russia and Ukraine took place today, even as Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky accuses Russia of violating a temporary truce. A U.S. official described today's talks as productive and said they'll continue tomorrow morning. The two main sticking points are Russia's demands for Ukraine to formally give up occupied territory in eastern Ukraine and Kyiv's demands for security guarantees from Western powers. As these talks are taking place, those on the ground in Ukraine are facing rolling blackouts in the midst of one of the country's harshest winters in years. And in recent days, Russia has renewed attacks on Ukraine's power plants after President Trump claimed to have secured a temporary energy truce. Joining us now from Ukraine is Asami Terajima, a reporter for the Kyiv Independent. So, Asami, what's the feeling there on the ground?
It's still Ukraine continues to face the darkest winter of this war, and many people, unfortunately, are still without power, heating, and in some cases, water supplies. And it's very difficult for Ukrainians, I think, because they don't know what to expect. They don't expect talks to go well. I mean, yet they have not gone. They have not brought tangible results in the past, and they don't expect some breakthrough in the future. So they don't know how long they would have to endure these really tough living conditions in freezing temperatures in negative 20 Celsius degrees.
And President Trump claimed that Putin kept his word for not attacking Ukraine's energy structure. But what's been the reaction to the White House's approach to these talks?
The Korean officials that we spoke to have dismissed it as a good vote thinking. I mean, Russia, like on February 3rd, early morning, they launched a mass missile drone attack, which Ukraine says that involved 70 missiles and over 450 drones. And the situation with energy resources continue to get worse, with Ukraine's energy minister recently saying that the shortage is significant. So it's unclear how long Ukrainian energy infrastructure can hold against continuing Russian attacks.
Okay, Asami Terajima, thank you for your time.